I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, September the 28th, brought to you in part by Macrocin by Bimeda. Proven efficacy at an affordable upfront price. End of story, no BS. For more information, go to macrocin.com. Also, Santa Teresa Livestock Auction in Santa Teresa, New Mexico. They've got a good run coming up here this Friday morning starting at 10 a.m. Mountain or 11 o'clock Central. Over 1,500 head of hard weaned steers and spayed heifers off the best ranches in Mexico, ready to ship to you. Get a hold of them there. Get on to DVAuction.com. Get a hold of them early and get approved to bid and get some of those hard Mexican cattle. Cattle and Beef Balancing Act. Now we've seen your box beef cutout values struggle to come up here this fall, early in the fall. They're right around $3, and that's on a box beef cutout value. And our cattle are bringing $290, $291, maybe $292 dressed. There's not a lot of room in there for processing, so we often hear about your packers struggling to stay in the black, and maybe they're dipping down into the red ink now, which cattle feeders are used to dipping down into the red ink, so there's not a lot of sympathy for them, but we're just about getting there. And so far this week we have seen fat cattle trade. In fact, your packers came out pretty aggressive this week, and despite the board being down hard on Tuesday, we saw them giving steady money in the Southern Plains at 183, and in the Northern Plains all they can squeeze out of their market is 184. That is a very narrow premium to the Northern Plains cattle, even though our best premiums are being paid for the best quality cattle. So maybe they're just wanting numbers now, more so than quality, but the quality is good in the Southern Plains also, especially in Kansas. We're seeing their grading is very near what Nebraska and Iowa is, but your packers continue to entice feeders to make cattle bigger to get them out of this supply problem that they have. And we're now seeing premiums on cattle weighing 900 to 1,000 pounds, where we used to see discounts. And it doesn't take a lot to entice cattle feeders to make the cattle bigger, especially considering what the price of replacement feeders is. But you are still seeing discounts on cattle weighing over 10.5, so you've got kind of a small window there to make your cattle big, but not too big, just trying to make them what the packers want. But they're not wanting to give a whole lot more for cattle. If they squeeze the North down to 184, which is all they've paid so far this week, and bring the Southern Plains back up to steady with last week, they will keep the weighted average in the 5-area feeding region from going up any higher, which keeps them from paying more for all the formula cattle that they've already got spoken for there. But we are kind of getting there where we're just rubbing against each other and getting very close to the edge. Don't forget, Woodward Livestock Auction in Woodward, Oklahoma has decided to join the DVAuction family of broadcasted barns, and we're excited to have Woodward Livestock Auction aboard. They have not broadcasted their barn before, so this will be a first for them this Thursday. And you can get on to DVAuction.com. You can view and bid the Woodward Livestock Auction. Get a hold of them early, get approved to bid, and we're happy to welcome Woodward Livestock Auction aboard to our family of broadcasted barns. Let's talk about your board on Wednesday. October live cattle futures were up 10 cents after being down hard on Tuesday, sitting at 184.90. December was down 30 cents at 188.17. Now your back months were down more than that, down 65 cents to down 107. September feeder cattle were still down after being down hard on Tuesday, down 107 at 251.52, which is really close right in there with what your index values are, and then that goes to figure because we're late in September and they have to come together. October was down harder, down 162 at 252 and a quarter, and all your back months on feeder cattle contracts were down hard also, down 190 to down 270. New crop December corn up 3.5 cents a bushel at 483 and a quarter. New crop beans November up 0.5 cent at 1303 and a quarter. Kansas City hard red winter wheat for December still volatile, down 16 cents at 694 and a half. Fat cattle trade, we had more fat cattle trade that happened on Wednesday, not nearly as much as happened on Tuesday, but although we didn't get to talk most about it because it did happen after the 2 o'clock deadline to turn into mandatory price reporting. But on Wednesday, Iowa sold 5,500 head. All your live prices were at 184. We didn't see anything higher than that. And dress prices at 290 to 291, which is going to be a little weaker than last week. Nebraska 7,000 head confirmed on Wednesday, all at 184 live and 288 to 291. So the north is going to be down a little bit while the southern plains is holding steady. In Kansas, they only sold 300 head confirmed on Wednesday. They did sell 8,500 head so far this week, so that's about as much as they've been selling in Kansas here for the last few months. But your live sales in Kansas on Wednesday were at 183, and we did see some dress sales in northern Kansas at 290. Texas, 500 head is all confirmed on Wednesday, 6,400 head for the week, so that goes to tell you at Tuesday afternoon or evening they sold several cattle. Most of the sales at 183. They did see some 183 and a quarter on Fed Cattle Exchange. Fed Cattle Exchange, which is a negotiated trade there and does have competition. They sold some cattle at 183 and a quarter in Texas, some more commodity cattle at 183 in the Southern Plains, and also some 183.50 on the grid, the bid for some beef on dairy type cattle. Box beef cutout values came back from being down really hard on Tuesday, and your choice cutouts fell below $300 on Tuesday for the first time since May, but on Wednesday come back up $1.41 on your Wednesday afternoon trade at $300.95. Selects down 59 cents at $278.51. Your slaughter started out gangbusters early in the week, but has faded back, and we're expecting some of your regional packers to be dark late this week. But through the first 3 days of the week, 381,000 harvested, and that was estimate there. That's 7,000 more than the same point last week and 1,000 more than the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. Livestock Risk Services. Tell you what, they are your LRP specialists. They've done a little bit changing around with some of their agents there, but call one of their agents there if it's closer to you where you're living there. But they can absolutely help you out. You've got to protect yourself against market risk, especially at these levels we're seeing right now on cattle. For more information, go to livestockriskservices.com. Talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DVAuction late in the day on Wednesday sitting at 249.23, up 28 cents from falling pretty hard at the end of Tuesday's trade there, and that is always up to date and current. It takes your CME cash feeder cattle index a couple days to catch up, and it's setting quite a bit above your real-time index, but it will come down. Talk about your big sales on Wednesday. How about OKC West in El Reno, Oklahoma? 5,800 head for their 2-day sale, counting the calves on Tuesday. Mostly all yearling feeder cattle on Wednesday. Feeder steers sold steady. Feeder heifers were $1 to $3 lower, which is, that can be considered here the way the board has been this week. Calves $3 to $6 lower, with a lot of pressure from those ball and unweaned calves that people really don't want while we still have the heat on right here this early in the fall. How about Dodge City, Kansas? Winter Livestock Auction had their 87th annual or anniversary sale there, 3,500 head plus. Good sale for them. Winter Livestock in Dodge City was our National Beef Wire Stickout Sale of the day, and they had a lot of weight groups well tested there. Talk about your steers. How about 317 steers in the 4-weight category? Average 442 at 339.18. 364 head of 5-weight steers, average 557 at 295.56. That's pretty respectable. 252 head of 6-weight steers, average 641, the weighted average price of 260.41. And 261 head of 7-weight steers in Dodge City, Kansas, average 732 at 259.27. 435 head of 8-weight feeder steers in Dodge City had a weighted average weight of 846, weighted average price of 251.34. Look at some heifer weights that were well represented. How about 327 head of 5-weight heifers, average 546 at 261.35. 353 head of 6-weight heifers, average 659 at 255.54. And 328 head of 7-weight heifers, average 749 with a weighted average price of 243.53. How about Bassett Livestock Auction? That's always impressive. 2,800 head for them, and they were heavy on the big feeder steers. Haven't seen a big glut of heifers or big glut of calves come to Bassett Livestock Auction as of yet, but they sold big heavy feeders there. Those that weighing under 950 pounds were $7 to $8 lower than the impressive sale that they had last time, and those weighing over 950 pounds were steady to $2 higher. Give you some individual quotes from all around. How about Buffalo Livestock Auction in Buffalo, Wyoming? They sold 72 steer calves, weighed 475 at 339.25. And how about Dodge City at the anniversary sale? They sold 69 steers, weighed 573 at $3 a pound. Pretty respectable for some weighing that high in the fives. But your most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Wednesday, your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of Bassett Livestock Auction, was 238 head of 929 pound steers, bring 256.50. And that's your feeder flash for Thursday.